I can't hear you.
Welcome to the core class.
Thank you.
I'm excited to meet all of you and get started on this journey together. We have a lot of exciting things planned for the upcoming weeks, including some fun activities and projects that'll help us get to know each other better and ultimately strengthen our craft. I hope you all are ready to learn and grow because that's what we're here for. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to ask. We're all in this together. And I'm looking forward to getting to know each and every one of you. I want to start out by introducing myself, and that's really the point of the introductory class today. My name is Harold. I'm an entry-level comedic priest in that tradition, a pagan musician, winner of Best Male Artist of the Year from the International Pagan Music Association, program manager of pagan television station called Fringe TV. I own a production company that is very pagan friendly, called Constellation Artist Production, that specializes but is not limited to video editing. I've walked the path since 2001. I'm originally from New Hampshire. I have 1 year of college. Contemporary and historic witchcraft and magic is one of my hobbies and interests in spirituality. I have conquered recidivism and alcoholism with the power of nature-based spirituality. In the future, I'd like to someday build a pagan temple and facilitate a living community for our pagan elders. Thank you for joining us in the core class. I'm not a teacher in this class, but rather would like to be acknowledged as a guide. We all have different reasons why we're here. I'm here to get to the core of contemporary and historical witchcraft while adding the formula of natural and immutable law into that equation. I'm here to network, to learn, to build heartstrings of spiritual blood, and above all, to be a servant to the people. I like to get to know everybody in class. What brings you here? Why do you want to learn? Where do you want to go? Where have you been? Do you have any formal training, etc.? And what's your end game as a servant in the craft? Yes, so once again, thank you so much for stopping by the core class. In the chat room, it looks like Gypsy says, "What's good?" Hello, Gypsy. And we can start with Amber.
Hello. Do you want me to introduce myself?
Yes, please. Tell me all about yourself. Your
Okay.
your history in the craft, where you're from, what you're about. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I live in Florida right now, in Spring Hill. I was born in Oregon. I grew up as a very Christian oriented person. But as an adult, I became unhappy with the Christian faith uh, because they didn't agree with a lot of the things I believed in. So I started looking elsewhere. Back in about maybe 20 years ago, I started looking into paganism and found my way. I had a teacher there that taught me co-creationism for a year and a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot of magic and meditation principles from her. And then I continued my studies into the Druid realm, is where I currently am now. I felt most at home with the Druid path, with the peace and the love and the nature, and aligning ourselves with the natural cycle of things. And then now I'm still currently learning, and I would like to learn more. I'm always open for learning more. And maybe there's some things I can learn from this class that I don't know. I'm always open and willing to try to learn from new things. And also I paint. I'm an artist, and I write poetry, and I have a dog.
What's your dog's name? What's your dog's name?
Oh, Princess.
Princess.
Yeah,
Cool.
she's laying right over there.
Cool. Moving right along. Lily, tell me about yourself.
So I'm from Arkansas, and I was raised in the Catholic Church. a priest said some things to me, and I left the Catholic Church. I have followed the pagan path for over 10 years, learned about my heritage from Ancestry DNA, took one of the tests and learned that I have Norse blood, and started studying about the Vikings and learned about what the Valkyries did for the Vikings. And I'm basically following nature with my path, and Gaia, and just different. I'm all over the path with witchcraft and paganism. I love crystals and just nature. It's just my thing. I have 3 dogs. My blue pet, her name is Moon Goddess, after Celine. And I'm everywhere with my craft.
Mm-hmm. Right. Brilliant. And I think it has a lot to do with your own personal spirituality, because your spirituality has nothing to do with any class you take or anyone who claims to be a teacher or guide or organization. It's about you individually to walk your path and your spirituality and to find out who you are. So it sounds like that you are intrigued by your Norse heritage. Did you do some kind of DNA, or you just know? Is it a word of mouth through your family?
No, I took the Ancestry DNA, the test that they have, and learned about it. And then my father has a book that it tells where our ancestors came from. And then with it, I learned more. And he actually told us that we had ancestors that were in the Roman army, and then we had ancestors that were actually Vikings and fought and raided and stuff. And I just have to get that book and learn more. But it was actually neat to find out when I took that Ancestry DNA test.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about you, Amber? Have you done any research on your genealogy?
No, that is one thing I would like to explore. No, I have not. There's a lot about my genealogy I don't know, because I don't know my father. So there's half of my genealogy that I don't have access to. And he's not on my birth certificate. So I know nothing about him at all. So I'm just winging it.
Well, I mean, I think winging it's okay, because we kind of got to roll with the punches, you know. But as far as the craft goes, or your craft, because everyone's individual craft is their own. You know, I think it's good to have goals. What kind of goals do you guys have as far as the craft goes? Where would you like to see yourselves in 3 to 5 years? You know, craft wise.
Well, I consider myself a healer. I am also a Reiki master. So I want to pursue that a little bit further. Probably in about 5 or 10 years, I want to have like a successful Reiki business or something like that.
Mm-hmm. There are quite a few good pagans in the community that have successful Reiki businesses. Absolutely. So you're a certified Reiki. Have you been trained formally somewhere?
Yes, twice. I'm trained in 2 traditions, white light and can't think of the other name. I'm on the spot. But yeah, two traditions.
I have the empathic ability. I can sense, I want to make that stronger, but I also want to help heal. So the Reiki, I want to also learn that and become stronger with my healing.
Mhm. Very fascinating. Just off the top of my head, the first thing that comes to mind when people say that they want to be healers, which is really good. And one thing that I've noticed is that um, for people who want to heal others, really need to start first healing themselves. I guess constantly. I guess the work to heal yourself is never really done.
Mm.
And I think that's probably the key to that. I've heard a lot of different schools say that the first key is to know thyself. I think that has a lot of good merits to it. Um, so there's a lot of people that are supportive in the chat room. Um, People that are giving shout outs saying what's good. That uh, Gypsy says what's good here. Um, Another Facebook user says, I'm interested in co creation and I'm trying to meditate. A beginner, Sophia. Now, these are people that may or may not have been interested in the core class that maybe don't want to come on video, and that's fine. Um, there's other ways to, come with the core class. Not everybody wants to get on video, um, and that's understandable. Keep up the work, good work. People saying hello. Um, Hey everyone, like Garrett, and they just keep going. The definition of a great healer is someone that was very sick and for well quickly. Um, and we have that. Um, so yeah, basically the first class is just an introductory to see who would be interested in such class as this. Like I had said earlier, I don't claim to be a teacher. I'm nobody special. I'm just a kid from New Hampshire. If anything, I can act as a guide. And I look forward to growing with all of you. And the first thing that I wanted to start with in the class, and this is for people in the chat rooms and people that see the stream later in the group, is one thing that I wanted to touch upon. And a lot of people, especially, and I'm not digging on TikTok witches, I'm not digging on any of those folks at all. Some of them are probably valid, but the TikTok minute seems to have become the way of, I learned it all in a minute and I'm all set. But that's not true. And there was a school of magic that came out a century ago. And one of the things that they say in their curriculum is that only with the sweat of your brow will you obtain magical power. And I think that's very true, only with hard work. So to kick off, the core class right from its inception, I hate to be the one to say it's time to work, but what I'm looking for is a 350 word essay of kind of an introductory of where have you been in the craft and where you want to go. If you have been formally trained by someone, if you're fascinated by someone, you'd mentioned the Norse, she had mentioned Reiki, all those things in the 350 word essay. Now, the 350 words really isn't that long, or that it's not really that much writing, especially when you're writing to, discover the blueprint of your path, because the path is very important. And if someone really has a burning desire to walk the path, let's talk about it, man. And let's work together to try to come to that ending result. I think we could go from there. What do you guys think about a 350 word?
That's cool.
I mean, what we're ultimately trying to do is lay the very foundation of your path. This is your spirituality. It's not mine. It's your path. What are your interests? And let's unlock your strengths. You can identify your weaknesses and play upon them, but more importantly, identify your strengths and play upon them. I think that's always important. And another thing that I think that needs to be discussed in this introductory class, because it'll be archived within the group forum, is that it's a slant of the craft that identifies through natural law and immutable law. And so if people come to the table and talk about different functions or different craft rights or practices, regardless of tradition, time period, or geographics, can we apply it to immutable law and natural law and see what we come up with? Because I think it's important to get to the root of the craft, just like it's important to get to the root of your own will or your own paths, because we want to try to empower it. And I don't see many schools of thought these days talking about that, applying with natural law and immutable law. And I think it's time that we do so. Any thoughts? That's fine too. So what do you guys think about the essay?
What do you want in it?
What would I like in it? I would like you to talk about your path. Where have you been with the craft? Where you would like to go? Your visions, your dreams, your inspirations. I mean, there's several things you could talk about. Do you want to lead your own group? Do you want to have your own shop? I think to that caliber.
Okay.
Basically, an explanation of what we want with our craft and path in our life, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because once we have that information, we can check it out together, and then we can come up with a plan how to reach those ideals and that particular spirituality. The better that we can talk about you, we can talk about you and your spirituality and unlock your craft, your strength, your power, because we all have that power, and I think we should get in contact with it and utilize it, because we all have it. And see if we have any blockages. Like, there's all kinds of different ways that we can go, and plus it'll help the course of our trajectory of the class anyways. I plan on doing this class weekly, every week, with tidbits and different informations. There's several resources that we can draw upon. I would really like to draw upon natural law in general, and that's natural laws is kind of a teacher that will never lie to us. Now, you'll have a lot of teachers, I'm not saying anybody specifically, but there have been many teachers that say, I'm the best teacher, I'm the authentic teacher. But when we get down to the very core of it, the teacher that will never lie to us is Mother Nature. She does not lie.
Right.
And also, like the immutable laws, they do not lie. They cannot be disproven. If we take the core of the craft and analyze it with something that I would like to call the Kabbalion formula and apply it to the 7 Hermetic principles, we'll see what we come up with. I think that we can really dig deep and go far, in a slant, in an educational slant that has never been done before, and at the same time, really empowering ourselves in our own paths. Looks like we have some other folks can't hear the broadcast. That's theirs.
Are there specific? Sorry, Kenan. Are there specific books that we can read that would help with the craft? Specific authors and things?
I mean, there's definitely a multitude of different pagan and craft authors out there, and everybody will have a specific opinion on what are the best ones to go to. For this course, especially, I suggest reading the Kabbalion, and that can be found on the circleofancientsisters.com website. You can find it right there. That's for course material. And there's also a recommending reading list that I put up in the core group on the social feeds. You can check that out too. But if there's a specific, once I get your essays when I read them and I find out more about you, and that's the purpose of today's class, I can find out really where you want to go. I can probably use better discernment on what would be the best, reading stuff for you. It seems like you're fascinated with the Norse. So there's a multitude of different, places you can draw from with the Norse. And there's also a lot of, misinformation about the Norse, out there. And you just want to kind of, fact check a lot of things and stuff, because there's a lot of misinformation. And what I would like to try to do is, with a name like the core class, is try to eliminate the misinformation, the crap that is put out there, and really get to the bottom of it and find the origins of things and why things work. It looks like there's some other people in the chat room that are interested in the 350 words. Hopefully next week they can join. If not, not a big deal. We're just kind of on the front lines in the group, and here we are. So, Lily and Amber, where are you guys located at in the States?
I'm in Florida.
Florida?
I'm in Arkansas.
Arkansas and Florida. That's cool. I've visited Florida frequently, and Arkansas is cool as well. Cool as well. I know a couple folks in Arkansas and a bunch of folks in Florida. Must be hot in Florida.
Oh, it is. It's terrible.
So do you guys have any questions at all?
Right now, I'm just trying to figure out my path, and like I said, with the Norse, and then the spiritual side with Gaia and Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought up your DNA and that you researched that. And because that was a stepping stone for me too, to be able to walk the wheel of the year. And when Samhain comes about and they're talking about the ancestors, it means so much more when you can identify what peoples that you were associated with, or to do the DNA research. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool. I would encourage Amber to do the same if you can. There's a multitude of different, DNA testing sites.
Yeah.
I don't really know of one specific one that's better than others. They all have different pros and cons to them. And there are some conspiracy theorists to say the government will have our DNA, and it's a big conspiracy and stuff. And if that's something you don't want to do, it's completely voluntary. But I think it's important to get in touch with your ancestors. I think that there's some kind of connection to the ancestors. I think that we can be empowered by our ancestors, and we live through our ancestors. There's much to be heard from our ancestors. And a lot of people in our community focus on that during Samhain because the veil is always thin, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah. Any other questions?
Well, right now I'm kind of in this in-between space. I've studied Druidry for the past 6 years, and I'm kind of in a state where I'm not sure where to go from here. Mm-hmm. So I took this class to see another viewpoint and see if it would interest me.
Right. Yeah, Druidry is definitely very pagan friendly. It's part of the pagan umbrella. I'm not too adept with Druidry, or really, I'm not really adept of much of anything except trying to learn more stuff. But what I do know about Druidry is that it seems like there's two orders on the planet. One is called the OBOAD, and there's one called ADF. And I just found out recently there's also another one that I can't remember, but there's a third too. Those are kind of the three big ones, and they have lots of affiliations and stuff like that. So if Druidry is something that you're interested, write about it. what fascinates you about it, with the essay, and then we can definitely go from there. Definitely.
Okay.
And there's people in the chat room right now talking about, have you studied the Ogam, which is a system of druidry, and they were the priests of their time, definitely were. Lots of people saying hello, people from England, and they are out and about. Blessings to all. So yeah, if anybody in the chat room would like to join the stream, feel free. Yeah. And so, somebody said in Britain there's about 7 orders. So they're saying that there's 7 orders, and
Okay.
there may be 7 different orders. I've just never heard of them. I only know of a possibility of 3.
I
But
only
yeah.
knew about 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's just it's a never ending endeavor when you become a servant to the earth, to humanity, and that's kind of the slant of the core class, because I believe wholeheartedly that every pagan priest and priestess, they take some kind of oath to serve humanity in some kind of capacity, and I believe that wholeheartedly. So without any other further ado, that about wraps up the first class, which is an introductory. Once we get the essays, we'll have week 2, and week 2 will happen next Sunday, but we're also going to have class on Wednesday. It's come and go as you want. It doesn't matter if you come back, stay if you would like to, leave if you'd like to. It's all on you. There's no pressure. This is your spirituality, not mine. But hopefully we can kindle a relationship, and work together, and build friendships, and maybe even spiritual blood. You just never know. That's all I have for now. You guys take care. Blessed it be, from a place we call the Hill, and we loves you. This is the
Thank
core
you.
class, week 1.
Thank you.